Shalom, friends. Welcome back to our weekly reading of the Word. And we are going to continue where we left off with Genesis 20 and 21 today, or Bereshit 20 and 21. So if you remember last week, we basically had Yah turning around and pretty much smoking Sodom and Gomorrah. Just said enough of this, because basically we had abominations wanting to rape angels. Not a good thing. And it's like, yo, Lot, get out of there. And Lot's like, but I don't want to go to the mountains. Well, you're going to go anyways. And now we move on to Abram and Abraham. Oh, he's no longer Abram. He is Abraham now. So let us start with Genesis 20. And Abraham set out from there to the land of the south, and sojourned between Kadesh and Shur, and stayed in Gerar. And Abraham said concerning Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech, sovereign of Gar, sent and took Sarah. But Elohim came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, see, you are a dead man because of this woman who you have taken, for she is a man's wife. Oh, Abimelech, can't be taking man's wives. But wait, Abraham said it was his sister. However, Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Yahweh, would you kill a righteous nation also? So remember, Yah just smoked Sodom and Gomorrah, a unrighteous nation. They were very unrighteous. That was whew. But now Abimelech was like, hey, we're a righteous nation. Would you also smoke us? So that's a Abimelech's like, whoa, what's going on here, Dad? Did he not say to me? Oh, we're continuing with 25, not 25, but 20.5. Did he not say to me, she is my sister? And she even said herself, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and in the innocence of my hands, I have done this. And Elohim said to him in a dream, yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, and so I kept you from sinning against me. For this reason, I did not let you touch her. And now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and let him pray for you, and you live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall certainly die. Okay, that's a very important statement right there. You will certainly die, because Yahweh just smoked Sodom and Gomorrah. You and all that are yours. So God's gonna wipe out Abimelech, all of them. That's what he's telling them. If you don't do what I just told you to do. So Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and spoke all these words in their hearing, and the men were greatly frightened. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, what have you done to us? In what have I sinned against you, that you have brought on me and my reign a great sin? You have done matters to me that should not have been done. Yeah, Abraham, you lied. And you're possibly going to cause this man to sin. We got some problems here, bro. We got to talk. And let us continue with proper sayings. The words, 20:11. And Abraham said, only because I said to myself, the fear of Elohim is not in this place, and they shall kill me for the sake of my wife. And yet She is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And it came to be when Elohim caused me to wander from my father's house that I said to her, this is your loving commitment that you should do for me. In every place, wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother. Then Abimelech took sheep and cattle and male and female servants and gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah, his wife, to him. And Abimelech said, see, my land is before you. Dwell wherever it is good in your eyes. And to Sarah he said, see, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. See, it is to you a covering of eyes before all who are with you and before all others, and you are clear before everyone. And Abraham prayed to Elohim, and Elohim healed Abimelech and his wife and his female servants, so they bore children. For Yahweh had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abram's wife. We're going to take a little pause there. Let's dive into this a little bit. But first, I must refresh with Kofifi. That's good. I know. Yep. So, pardon me, I'm sorry. So let us go back in Genesis. Let the fingers do the walking. So let's go back to Genesis, I believe, Genesis 14. And let's see. And then let's see. We are finding Genesis 14:18, where we have the start of Abraham talking to Melchizedek. When Abram, and I believe at this time it was Abram, so Abram tithed to Melchizedek. He gave him tithings. Melchizedek blessed Abraham with this. During these conversations, as we go in, Father Yah tells Abraham that he is going to be a blessing to all nations. Okay? He's going to be a blessing. Because the lesser always tithes to the greater. So, as we have here, we find out, number one, Abraham is a prophet. He's a prophet of Yah. Abimelech took sheep, cattle, male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham. Also gave him, 1,000 pieces of silver. Okay. So think about it. Silver right now is about $40 an ounce. 1,000 pieces of silver at $40. Ooh, that's decent. That's decent. So Abimelech is tithing to Abraham. And what does Abraham do at the end here? He blesses Abimelech. So the changing of the hands. So Abraham is now becoming that blessing as he was told. So we can continue to 21. And Yahweh visited Sarah as he had said, and Yahweh did for Sarah as he had spoken. So Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the appointed time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called his name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, and Abraham had commanded, as Elohim had commanded him. Sorry, neighbors are banging on stuff because that's what neighbors do. So 21:6. And Sarah, whoops, sorry. We've lost our place. And 21:4. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, Elohim has made me laugh, and everyone who hears of it laughs with me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Mitzrite, whom she had born to Abraham, mocking. So right here, we're going to pause. There's some stories out there that, so you got to remember, this is Ishmael. Ishmael's about 17 years old, and Isaac has just been weaned. So there's a large gap. There are stories and there's things said that Ishmael was actually was pointing an arrow at him. He had a bow and arrow and was pointing arrows at him, like mocking him, threatening to kill him and stuff like that. So there's a little deeper saying than just, he was like, nee, nee, nee. There's deeper sayings to that. So we're going to pause a little bit. And 21:10. So she said to Abraham, drive out this female servant and her son, for the son of his female servant shall not inherit with my son, with Isaac. And the matter was very evil in the eyes of Abraham because of his son. But Elohim said to Abraham, let it not be evil in your eyes because of the boy. And here's the boy, he's 17. Think of the day and age. That's no longer, why is he still considered a boy? Because Hagar, think about it, Hagar, he was still in the house with Hagar. He should have been doing the manly things. He wasn't. So it's time for him to pack up his bags and be a man. So Yah's kind of letting Abraham going, no. This is good, you know. But Elohim said to Abraham, let it not be evil in your eyes because of the boy and because of your female servant. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for in Isaac your seed is called. So now listen to your wife. Before, you listened to your wife and you did hoe stuff. No hoetry. Because, come on, that was a horrible. I know, here, sleep with my handmaiden or my servant or slave. And of course, Abraham's like, okay. No. Yeah. Bad. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for in Isaac your seed is called. And the son of the female servant I also make a nation, because he is your seed. Ishmael will become a nation. Ishmael, Islam. Yes. Ishmael, Islam. That's where we get the root of that. And Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water, which he gave to Hagar, putting on her shoulder. Also the boy had sent her away, and sent her away, and she left and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. We're going to find out something about later on about Beersheba. And the water in the skin was used up, and she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. And she went out and sat down about a bow shot away. For she said, let me not see the death of the boy. and she sat opposite him and lifted her voice and wept. So she's got a bow and arrow. She don't want to watch him die. Put two and two together. She's gonna help ease his pain. But she's calling out, please, Elohim. So we can also, we'll talk about that later. Let us continue with 21:17. And Elohim heard the voice of the boy and called the messenger of Elohim. Let us start that over again. Sorry. And Elohim heard the voice of the boy, and the messenger of Elohim called to Hagar from the heavens and said to her, what is the matter with you, Hagar? Do you not fear, for Elohim has heard the voice of the boy where he is? Arise, lift up the boy and hold him with your hand, for I make a great nation of him. And Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and she filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And Elohim was with the boy, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt. Now, he doesn't have a dad. Mom's got to do this, because normally dad would do it, but dad's not around. Hagar's picking his wife. And it came to be at that time that Abimelech and Pekol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, Elohim is with you in all that you do. Now swear to me by Elohim not to be untrue to me, to my offspring, or to my descendants. Do to me according to the loving commitment that I have done to you and to the land in which you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water which Abimelech's servants had seized. So Abimelech's servants seized a well that Abraham had built. And this is becoming a little bit of a strife here. So he's like, hey, I dug this well. They took it. We got to work this out, bro. This ain't good. You told me I can stay here and do this, but now your servant's not cool. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this deed, neither did you inform me, nor did I hear until today. So Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. And Abraham sent 7 ewe lambs of the flock, that's the females, that's the baby droppers, as it said by my pastor, the receiving end. So, and Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves, and Abimelech asked Abraham, what are these 7 ewe lambs for which you have set by themselves? He said, take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand to be my witness that I have dug this well. So he called the place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba, and Abimelech rose with Pekol, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. And he planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there called the name of Yahweh, the everlasting El. And Abraham sojourned in the land of the Philistines many days. So some believe he didn't just plant a single tree. Some believe he actually planted a grove of trees. And that's kind of cool when you think about it. And if you think about him planting a grove of trees, we can also go to what happened to Yeshua. And we think about Yeshua, and when he was taken, he was in Gethsemane. Oh, the words, I know. Gethsemane. That means olive press. Yeshua was in an olive tree grove. That was Gethsemane. So kind of some really interesting parallels. And we will conclude it there. And thank you so much with bearing with some horrible pronunciations as always. I am trying to work on it. I'm going to start maybe making notes of, phonetical. I'll look up the Hebrew and they'll do the phonetics so it's not such a slaughter. But thank you. Those of you that watch this, I am deeply humbled and I appreciate it. And I hope that you are reading along, that you're opening up your word. And like I've said before, I use the scriptures, the Institute for Scriptural Research. I used to read the King Jimmy. I never really felt good. And my pastor, he turned me on to the scriptures, and this is essentially the King Jimmy, except it maintains the Hebrew words and names, which I really like. Instead of saying the Lord like the King Jimmy does, it says Elohim, or it actually has Yahweh, Yahovah, has the actual name of the great I am, and that to me is important, because me personally, I don't like saying God or Lord. I like to use Yahweh, Yahovah. We've spoken about that before. And it has some corrected translations. A lot of people say it's a new covenant. It's actually a renewed covenant. It was a mistranslation, and very few Bibles actually will reiterate that. And that's a huge thing for me, because it's not a new covenant. It is a renewed covenant. Nothing was ever gotten rid of. I mean, just look at the fact that we still have rainbows. But a lot of people like to use that to make excuses for why they don't do things. And also the other thing I like, here, we'll do this one. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully it will focus on that. You see the bold? Bold is where whenever Yeshua is speaking and talking, it connects it back to the Old Testament, the first part of the book, and which is kind of sad, because it's almost like people seem to think that the Jews and the Christians, because they get along oh so well, decided that we're going to share one book, and the only thing that's going to separate the two is one thin page. Well, when Yeshua was walking and teaching, and his apostles, his taught ones, were doing the teaching, they would say, well, what does the scripture say? And they weren't talking about the Gospels. They were talking about the books of Moshe, the books of Moses. So yeah, think about that. And so that's something to really, really contemplate. So, and then eventually we'll make it to Numbers, which is oh so enjoyable, because the Bagats. We will endure the Bagats together. But with that, as always, shalom, blessings. May you have a wonderful week. And then next week we'll pick up with 22 and maybe 23. Wait, we will do 22 and 23. Yes, we'll do 22 and 23 next week. The sirens are telling me I need to stop. Same with the plane. There we go. They caught him. But with that, we'll conclude this. Thank you again. Shalom and blessings. Thank you.